Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And this week, we got another hot one for you. But before we get into all of that, Zoe's got some shout-outs.
Yo, what up? You know what time it is. Hey, shout out to Ashley Twine. You have been doing a tremendous job, great job in getting these awards and reaching your goals and achievements. So shout out to you, and shout out to everybody else, all the listeners and whoever is not listening that have been achieving their goals and reaching their what they want in life.
All right. Hey, this week we're getting into it, talking about helping the next generation. So strap in. Let the Kings talk about it. All right, good people. Hey, welcome back to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And as I am every single week, I'm Alan.
What up? It's your boy Twine, a.k.a. Hey, ask me about my podcast, man. You know what time it is.
It's your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill.
I like the pause. The pause is amazing. Anyway.
Okay.
Hey, what topic we talk about today?
Helping that next generation. Who's this, Calvin?
Nope.
It's actually your boy, Twine.
Oh,
Ask about my podcast.
Mr. Asking about Mr. Results over excuses over there.
Check out this.
Check out that merch.
Yeah.
Anybody checking out the merch because they can't see it right
Oh,
now.
that's right. Describe it. The camera's off. It's an amazing shirt. Get one. SoFi Clothing. Today's topic, helping the next generation. And of course, I came across this because we got kids and we try to do our best to make sure they're good. But however, in my journey of trying to help the next generation, sometimes it can be a struggle. It can be a struggle. So that's what we're talking about today. Y'all strap in. Let's get it. So with that being said, one of the main things that I have dealt with is with this the younger generation. It's hard listening to them because of the new jargon. I can't keep up.
Well, that's probably was the same for your parents and everybody's parents. I mean, because if you're not staying up on the jargon, then yeah, it's gonna be because you're not even
I'm
know what they're
learning new
talking
stuff
about
every day. I ain't even know half the stuff they talk because when they talk, I have to stop them. Like, yo,
You cut off.
What are you saywhat? I'm cut off?
Oh, you sound like an old man.
Yeah. You cut them off.
You sound like such a old. I'm like, what is this?
I just can't keep up. But I have learned. Well, I don't want to say I can't keep up. I am keeping up with little that I need to. I'm on a very need to know basis.
Hey, this
I
stuff
don't
changes
need to know
fast.
Everything.
Man. Listen,
it's like computer hardware or software out here.
This
it's always
changes,
updating.
This stuff changes fast because it's 20-year-olds that don't know what the 13-year-olds talking about. So let's not pretend that like this stuff is constant.
So with that being said, it can be difficult as far as listening to them now. As far as communicating with them, that's so old. I mean, I am old. What are you talking about, bro? I'm up there.
Old man.
Hey, you see these? Well, you can't see it right now, but let me describe my beard.
Old David Banner over here.
I got grays and a couple of strays, but it's okays.
I don't.
All right, communicating with the younger generation.
Well, let me clarify because one, I do not.
Or the next generation, I should say.
I do not try to talk to the kids as much as I used to. I try to listen.
Okay.
I try not to give like as much.
You don't be dropping them gems?
No. No, at all.
Okay.
I don't. Not in. I'm talking about my personally in my own house, as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I try to listen more, and just let them talk, and just try to be that ear more than anything else now. The reason is they're at an age where I would rather have them making decisions rather than me
telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Helping them develop their critical thinking.
Well,
No, that's different.
No, you would love for that to happen, but
it don't always work out that way.
It don't work out. These kids. Woo.
Well, as far as
like I said, that's why I listen.
Okay, so in regard, I understand listening. That's a major key as far as trying to communicate with the next generation. However, as far as communication, I do have conversation with them to help them get past the mindset that they're stuck in, so they can see beyond what they're thinking at the moment. Ask probing questions to see. Okay, for example, I can't even give an example without giving people business away. Just in general. So if they have a question about money or finance, money. Okay, let's use money. Let's use money. That's easy.
Okay.
So if you get $20 now, right? Any money at all. Let's just say any money at all. And as soon as you get it, you want to spend it. With no concerns about, later on, which I understand, because the next generation, they ain't worried about that, because basically we taking care of everything right now, because they under your roof, and what you say, if it ain't got my name, then all that nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. 100%. 100%.
That does not apply to everybody. But,
well, I'm glad it don't.
In your household.
I'm glad it don't.
Because for me, the last name is not there, but I still have that responsibility.
I understand what you said.
Okay, let's move on. All right. So,
Calvin Hill, understand what you said. I understand what you said.
For the money, I try to have conversation with them, and I do things to help them understand that you might want to keep a few dollars in your pocket. Because if I go to Chick-fil-A and you ain't eating, I'm good.
Are you cold like that?
I will do that. In an instant. Nice. If you ask, especially if you ask me for something, and I say, well, who's paying for it?
Nice.
Okay, well, if you don't have the money to pay for it, then
for clarification, how old are they?
Teens.
Yeah. Okay. See. So the lessons change. So you're not dealing with 10 years. Yeah, the expectations
responsibility
change.
gets different. Right.
So you're not talking about
child
10 and under who can't make any money or don't have any opportunities.
Whoa. Now let's take it back to opportunities. There are some younger kids out here that are out here making a career or a living of making some kind of financial means, baking cookies and selling them and things of that nature.
Okay.
There are ways to make money. So don't tell me that the younger generation the younger generation can't get money.
This is why I started doing what I'm doing as far as listening, because I have 2 kids in my house now. One doesn't have a problem working and making money. No issue. The other one doesn't have the motivation. One complains, one doesn't complain. So I listen and I watch, because no matter what I do or say now, they've already determined what they will do
and what they won't do.
Right. So I can't. There's no amount of talking I can do to change that.
No, you're right. There's no talking. It's action at that point. Are you hungry?
So how would you change? Okay, so you're trying to help. Okay, so you're trying to help the next generation. How would you help them if they can't see it?
Oh, they're going to feel it.
All right, they're going to feel it, but they're going to keep feeling it. And I promise you they're going to keep feeling it again and again and again.
What?
And again.
No, I don't believe it. No.
Okay, check it. Check me. Somebody fact check me on this, because you can tell a kid until you blue in the face. Some don't get it. Some are who they are. And no matter how much talking you do, that child will be that.
Well, again, we're talking about, I think from your perspective and my perspective, and why I think they're different is because of the age group that we're working with.
All right.
So I believe that when they get older, that they will start to get it. If there's some like repercussions for the actions or the non-action.
And now that goes to one of my points. Cultivate, not control.
Okay.
Cultivate. So you're setting up an environment for them.
Trying to.
Right. That's the best a parent can do. That's the best anybody could do to help the next generation. Is create an environment where these behaviors are rewarded.
Let me show you what hard work and dedication can do.
You can
What it
show
can
them
give
all
you for
day,
yourself.
but if they, but unless you cultivate that, unless you have an environment where that is constantly rewarded, because that's the problem with a lot of kids. They're rewarded for a certain behavior, and their brains responding to it. For example, kids are rewarded for playing video games. Their brain is stimulated because of
the achievements and all that stuff. Bing, bing, all the lights and flashes.
That's why an ADHD kid can play a video game for hours because they're being rewarded. But they can't do their homework for 10 minutes. They haven't been rewarded. Just to throw this out there to help parents. If you have a child that has ADHD, when they're doing their homework, reward them for every little problem they do. It will help them. It will make night and day.
Well, there you have, man.
Yeah, I'm
getting
get
out
that.
here. That's free. That's free to you. The first one always free.
That's how you help the next generation. You learn those different techniques and things. But as far as, like you said, older kids and hoping they will get it, I would tell you, sit back and watch them, because you're dealing with a person now, especially like once you hit that 15, 16, 17-year-old, they are who they are.
Yeah.
And all you can do is set boundaries and environments for them to operate in, because that's the way the rest of the world is. And if you don't give them that, you're going to set them up for failure, because they're going to go out here. That's why you got so many entitled, I should get because no, ain't the way it works. Sorry. You hungry, like you said.
I get irritated when it comes to people in general that have a entitlement issue. But I'm not going to get into that. We're going to stick with the generation.
But that's a part of the generation. That's still you 40 what? You talking to
business.
you talking to everybody 25 and under.
Okay.
That's the next generation for you.
Yeah.
65 and under, we are the next generation for them. So it depends on where you are on how you help the next generation. So how do you help these 25 and under?
You know what's crazy? I'm glad you said that, in the age range. There are a lot of young individuals out here that I know that are doing way better than I was at their age, which is amazing to me. And when I talk to them, they're talking about, hey, I just bought a house, I'm renting out rooms, XYZ. They're actually more focused on creating and building something versus, well, that's the kind of circle I keep. I don't like everything else. It's all.
I think it's because of where you are more so than that's the norm.
Yeah, it's not really the norm.
I certainly know. I certainly know a few that still at the house with their parents, or had to move back in, during the pandemic or whatever.
Yeah,
because they lost their job or all kinds of stuff. So it's not. It just depends on the company you keep.
That is true.
The company you keep.
The company you keep.
The company you keep.
Yeah,
that's going to dictate what you see.
That's true.
And then because that dictates what you see, it kind of unfortunately can dictate how you feel about society as a whole. Even though what you see may not be the average or the norm.
Yeah,
you might be seeing, because you're exceptional, you might be seeing all the other exceptional people.
That makes sense.
It's the reason why, that I think that a lot of people that are wealthy, like Twines, have a I just gotta give them a hard time all the time. But they have a hard time. They have a hard time understanding the plight of the non-wealthy person, because they've been wealthy for so long that they just can't. They're at this point, they're blinded to all the other ways people are living.
Is that a good thing though? Is that a bad?
Yes, it's a good thing.
Did you repeat the question?
No, I ain't no repeat the question. That's a good thing. I'm sorry, man. This is gonna be
okay. So I guess that helps tie into this next thing, next topic that I wrote here.
Calvin is a survival of the fittest.
Not being judgmental,
which also means he's judgmental.
It's difficult for some. I would say that. Now, for me personally, I will put it out there on the table and say that I am a judgmental person. I know.
Tell me how, because I am accused of this pretty often. Somewhat.
Calvin, there's a lot of things that people tell you.
Listen,
Like, I don't see it.
No. I don't. It's not that I don't see what you're saying. I understand your perspective. That's never my issue.
Okay.
Never. The issue is with Calvin Hill. Does he care? Now, back to the question of what is judgmental?
Short answer. No, he don't.
No. Let's move on. The judgmental.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like describe what being judgmental is? How do you tell somebody's being judgmental? Because for me, when somebody tells me I am judgmental, I said, okay, what is my consequence for my judgment?
So
I'm like that. Come on.
So I guess it depends on who you are. Cause like for me, when I meet anyone or I'm talking to anyone, I'm always trying to understand why something was done or why they are where they are from their perspective.
Okay.
Now I don't have to agree with their perspective. My only concern is understanding because I'm genuinely interested in the plight of humanity as a whole. Now, if you're not, then you're not. But I'm genuinely interested in how you got here.
Right.
What series of decisions, what series of activities, what series of consequences got you to where you are today, whether that's good or bad. And then I can say, okay, well, I would or wouldn't have done that. Now, in general, if I'm judgmental, you're not going to know I'm judgmental because I'm interested in actually helping you if and only if you want. Otherwise,
that's a good point.
But y'all know me. I ask questions. I ask questions.
Again,
you're only judgmental when you caught.
No, but that's my point. To me, when people use that word, it kind of irks me a little because, you're saying you're judgmental. Okay, so I asked you, what is my response for this judgment? What is my consequence for me being judgmental? Because if you're judging something, that means you have a consequence for the action. And I say, I don't have one, so you do have consequences.
It's basically
right. So show me my consequence for that judgment.
So you may not care about the consequences, but you have consequences. You may not see the consequences today, but you have consequences. So the consequence for being judgmental means there are a whole bunch of people that just may not deal with you. And if that's okay, then that's okay.
Right.
But the other consequences could be that somebody that you were judgmental towards. As a matter of fact, it reminds me of I was watching a story that Samuel L. Jackson and Viola Davis were talking about how there was that you should essentially treat all the people on the set good because the person that you treat incorrectly today could be the person whose butt you have to kiss tomorrow. As an example, there was an actor who was absolutely terrible to somebody who was at the time a grip on set named Kenya Barris. Today, Kenya Barris is the person who created Blackish, who created Grownish. But this person is never going to get work from Kenya Barris because they treated them terribly. So they didn't see their consequences for 20 years.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is you may not have consequences today for the judgmental, but it might be a real estate deal you don't get. It might be something else you don't get because you treated somebody poorly.
And that's, again...
But the question is, do you care? If the answer is no, then that's okay.
But that's what I'm talking about. I always say, what did I do to show that I have been judgmental towards a situation, a thing? So like you said, treating somebody nasty. Okay, yeah, that's obviously you being a certain way. I don't do that to people.
Okay, but so in the definition, having or displaying an excessively critical point of view.
Okay,
that's being judgmental.
That's being judgmental. Good,
and that's fine. As long as you know, look, I tell people all the time, like you can live in whatever manner that you want to live. As long as you're willing to accept the consequences of it.
Very good.
And as long as you're willing to accept the consequences, then it's all okay.
Tie this in with helping the next generation.
Very good.
As far as being judgmental, helping, or having the desire to help the next generation, being judgmental is difficult because you see things the way your mind thinks, but it's different from what you see. So now in your head, before you even have a conversation or even want to approach that person to help them, you already have this preconceived notion in your head what they're about, what they do, and what they not do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. Yep, that's what I was going for.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay.
Very good.
Wait, running in circles, man.
I like circles. Only prickly things make points.
Moving on. All right, so
that is not a bar.
He missed it. Bar. Y'all missed it.
I got it, but I was going to let it die down.
Go ahead.
The more alkaline bars.
Go ahead.
So as far as helping the next generation patients, having the patience of a high school teacher.
What's the patience of a high school teacher?
I don't know, but people have told me I have the patience of Job. So I mean, I think that's where you got to be.
What?
You got to.
I got patience too.
No.
I identify as a patient person, so y'all better treat me.
Good job. Good job, Calvin.
I'm not doing this right now. I'm not doing
I identify as a patient person.
I identify as being skinny.
Why do you identify as being skinny?
Because I am. That's what I identify. That's what I am.
That's what I am.
That's what I identify.
What information are you using to tell you that you're skinny?
I say
what
I'm
my
patient
mind
all the
perceives
time, but
when I look in the mirror, I'm skinty.
Interesting.
So therefore,
interesting.
I identify. I'm fat, but I identify as being skinny. Let's move on. So you talked about training, not teaching, in regards of helping the next generation.
Unless you don't.
No, I'm done. I'm done on patience.
No,
okay, you done on patience.
Come on, why you done
put that little check
because y'all ain't taking it serious, so I'm moving on.
No, you got to be patient.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did.
I'm just saying. People have said in the past that I have the patience of Job, meaning that I'm going to stick through whatever,
right,
till we can get to until you decide that you don't want to do this anymore. Now you can't really with the children in your house, obviously that you can't really do that. But with people with the next generation, if it's somebody that that has requested your assistance, one, because my thing is I don't offer unsolicited advice in general, except on the podcast. Outside of that, if you ain't asked me for it, I ain't giving it to you.
Makes sense.
I might ask you some questions, and based on your answer to the first couple questions, it's going to determine if I'm going to even keep talking about it or if I'm going to change the subject.
So you're saying you got to be patient to help the next generation?
You got to be patient to help anybody. But certainly, some people, with certainly people that you don't have as much in common with, you got to be patient.
Does not have patience. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Twine does not have patience.
You don't have patience.
I'm a very impatient person.
Why?
That's the way I am.
You should be patient.
I accept who I am, and I identify with my flaws.
You can't be that. You toxic. You should be patient.
Huh? I ain't listening to none of that. Anybody who says different, you're not me. So you can't tell me what I am and how I'm supposed to think. I'm just not a patient person in general. I try to be. I become better. I'm a lot better than I was in the past because I would just go from 0 to 100 real quick. But we understand why, because your boy has psychological issues that I've gotten help for, and I'm better at being patient now.
Very good. Give him a hand on that, please. Give him a hand. I like that kind of talk.
But see, I know me.
Right.
I can only take so much ignorance before it's like, okay, you know what? Get out of my face.
That's not patient.
I know it's not. That's why I say I don't have it. That's why I say I do not have patience.
So helping the next generation, you do have to be patient.
You have to be patient.
You have to be patient.
And you have to have a desire to.
That's a whole nother league, but yeah.
Definitely.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah. You got to care.
Because for me, in general, that's why I had to back away from certain things because my desire wasn't there.
Right.
And for me to be, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so I don't want to put nobody else at risk.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And I understand that, like, not being patient thing, but I care. I care to the point that I want to do something.
Yeah, you have a desire.
Yeah. That's my thing. And even though I might not have the perceived patience as some,
you show it in different ways.
Oh yeah,
depends on what it is.
Oh yeah, it just depends on what it is. But so I would do what I can do on my end to help the next generation.
Yo, I've seen you in action when it comes to patience, and there have been some instances where something would happen, and we in the same environment, and I'd be like just trying to hold down the beast inside just to not say something, and you'd be like, "Oh, come on, let's go. No, you come over with me." No, bro.
Yeah, but that's
Clothesline 'em.
No, but that's cultivating. That's not
better.
Controlling, because I understand I've learned some things, especially in dealing with the next generation. You can't change anybody.
Nope.
You can't fix nobody.
Why
And
not?
especially proceed fix because you think somebody should be. No, that's not the answer.
And that's something I had to deal with.
Yeah. So the
Personally.
answer, that's why I come to those statements of cultivate, not control, and training, not teaching. You can't change anybody.
But you can train them.
You can train them.
To
Right.
hopefully get them in the right
Right.
direction.
I'm gonna hit y'all ahead with y'all favorite thing y'all like to come and tap me with.
Oh, Lord.
Is the Bible.
What?
It said train a child
I don't
in the
know
way.
at all,
First of
man.
all,
Why do you-
we're not
I
going to just
said-
skip
I
over that.
said what I said.
He's judgmental.
Did,
Stop being judgmental.
will, won't.
Like, nobody's attacking anybody.
Train a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he shall not depart from it. The reason that word train is because you should have a routine and a structure of developing, and
wonder.
then watch.
Oh, I wonder.
I don't like
What
your
is-
way,
what is the
your
original,
masculine way of
I'm
thinking.
glad you don't.
What is the original? I'm gonna have to look it up. Don't even
Yeah.
Now,
And when you
need
do,
the
and
original
it
word for train, because that's just like the whole study to show
Yes.
us self-approved doesn't
Yes.
study in the ancient world doesn't mean what study mean today.
man, and I wish people would still take the time to learn it.
The problem
Because
is
the principle, the big thing, the big takeaway from those are principles.
well, you know why people don't take the time to learn really anything is because for a lot of things that we're trying to learn, especially when you're talking about ancient religious texts, the language barrier is so steep for most people that they don't even try. They just assume what they never say, okay, well, let me see, does train today mean what train meant
No.
2,000 years
Absolutely
ago?
not.
Does study
Right.
today mean what study meant 2,000 years ago? Because we really should know these things because everything don't translate well to English.
Right, but people don't want
You might have to take 4, 5, 6 words to say one, to say.
People don't want to know.
They don't.
Train back in the day probably meant train for war, train for something.
No.
Being
well,
a farmer, train
Well, you-
But
the other thing about
does,
it is
it does have to do with
being a carpenter.
it does have to do with what you did.
This is the other problem with English. It is there can be multiple words, like the word train could be multiple different types of words in other
Discipline,
languages.
educate, instruct, school, teach.
Well, in that verse
just a few.
specifically. So
I'm talking about in general.
So that's why I say it gets tough for people, especially when they're using the Bible for principles, is they don't want to learn. They don't want to know. Not really. They don't want to know that this word could have that this word in English. You need to go look up the root because it could have been this, or this in
But-
his native language, and
but-
it's only translatable.
But
into
my
two.
pastor said,
Man, listen.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Get rid of that junk.
burn it.
Let's move
Environment. What is it? Environment.
He's still preaching.
En-
too.
environment.
He still got a church in North Carolina.
on. Yeah, environment. Oh, that goes back to that cultivate
Cultivating.
thing. Because if we spent more time creating the environments for the children to develop, if you want your child to be a doctor, you create an environment where they have to learn things about being a doctor.
Give them a passion
create
and
it.
desire for it.
You create the environments where it has to grow. Spend less time trying to make them do something and create the environment for them to do. That's why it's so important.
So, in regards to helping the next generation, we'll wrap this up in a minute. Like, how do you help the next generation that has been cultivated in a way that's not productive and not positive for their life?
And that's the purpose of Oh Lord, is to create environments for children to develop and cultivate their personal skills, because that's the only way. You can't make somebody be or do. So what I have come up with is, okay, you give them the opportunities to be and do who they are. You give them a space, a safe space to develop who they are, their likes, their wants, their skills.
Is that the same thing as a blank slate? What is
Now,
that?
okay, so The Blank Slate is a book, and it talks about how some people say kids are a product of their environment. Some people argue that kids are nothing more than their offspring, result of their mother and father, and they automatically behave exactly like their mother and father no matter what. Then Dr. I forget the author's name, but he talks about how, no, people are blank slates. You can basically create environments to where you can cultivate a person to be a thing, any kind of way. So that's a book. If you're interested in something like that, that's a good book to read.
I'm looking for the book.
I'm looking for it too, but there's apparently
A game.
No,
there's somebody that no, it's not this one, because this one says goes after the blank slate fallacy. So somebody wrote a contrary book.
No, that's
I know.
Is it the blank slate, the modern denial of human nature?
no.
That's
No.
the antithesis to the book that Calvin is talking about.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, there's a book out there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a couple books. It's very good. Interesting read for me. It's a very interesting read for me. You may or may not be interested.
And won't.
But Alan, you got some notes here.
What's your notes? What are you doing? What is this?
Oh, well, one of them I'll just save to the very end. But the only one, I mean, I learned some time ago about asking polyester versus silk questions, right? And essentially, it was based on the premise that questions are more powerful than statements, because questions allow people to get to a conclusion that they decided was, because the thing of it is, I can tell somebody something till I'm blue in the face, but if you came to that realization on your own, it's going to be more powerful than if I just tried to beat it into your brain. And so the whole notion of polyester versus silk question is just improving the quality of the questions that you ask yourself and others, right? And that's really where it is, just improving the quality of the questions that you ask. So when I'm dealing with really anyone, I'm trying to ask questions sometimes, and they may be, like leading questions or whatever, but I'm trying to ask questions to try to get you to think. Because that's, at the end of the day, I don't care what you come up with, as much as I want you to think about what you come up with.
I got it. Well, can we cue the music? I think that's a wrap. Unless you have something else, Calvin.
No, I'm good.
I would like to say, this is not my closing thought, but get you some business before you try to come out here and try to help somebody else. Don't be out here all sideways trying to get the next generation to be sideways, man. Straighten up.
Care. Care. If you care, you should try to help.
What?
Yeah, care. Because I'm emphasizing the word care.
If you care.
If you don't care about the
Bears.
next generation, man, some people don't care. Some people do not care about helping anybody else. So that's not for you. If you care, help. You can do something. You can find something to do. You can find an organization to volunteer with. You can find somebody or something to mentor. You can do something. Don't make an excuse not to. So, if you care.
If you care. But you got to, and some people don't care.
Right.
And that's okay. I don't judge you for not caring.
That's super fine.
It's excellent.
My only thing is, hey, just do your best when it comes to caring, but understand you're not going to be able to help everybody. You're just not. Sometimes you are not the voice that person needs. Like, you're not the type of voice that person needs. Somebody else could come along and say the exact same things that you're saying, and somebody's going to be more receptive to them than they are you. And you got to be okay with that. Sometimes we are planting seeds, or, as Calvin talks about cultivating, right? Sometimes we're just planting seeds, or sometimes we're watering someone else's seed that was planted. But just do your best. That's all I got, man.
It's a great closing thought. I'm going to end it there, man. I'm good.
We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.